Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. November 1st already. Wow, I cannot believe how fast this school year is going by. We know you're busy, so we're going to get right to business. Jason has a ton of information to share on content marketing, how to drive more engagement with your school district, and I am really excited to learn. Please make sure that you use your chat box. You can find that at the top. You can introduce yourself. Bay City, Texas. Allison is on, which is awesome. So I've got a couple Texas folks, of course, tuning in to Jason. But yeah, just introduce yourself. And then throughout the webinar, we do have you on mute because we've got a lot of people joining. But you can just chat in where you're calling in from at the bottom. Just a reminder that all of our slides and a recording of today's presentation is going to be emailed to you. So if you're getting great, information, you missed something, we're going to send that out. It'll be either later today or early tomorrow, and we'll make sure to get all of that information to you. But of course, I'm kind of a note taker, so I like taking notes. So if you're the same way, feel free to write notes as we go. Hello, Amanda and Crystal and Brandy and Sherry and Lisa and Ben and Jody. Oh my gosh. We got a lot of people joining us, Jason. If you are on Twitter, please tweet out some love to Jason. He's Wheeler CFB. You can also tag me at Andrea Gribble. You can do the hashtag Social School for EDU. Love to help share some of the knowledge that you're going to get today with other folks kind of across the country. So if you're on Twitter, please do that. Let's see if I can get to the next slide. Just a quick, I'm your host today, Andrea Gribble. I own a company called Social School for EDU. We help schools create awesome social media. I do have 6 kids. I didn't tap into all their candy, just some of it last night. Our company has now shared over 70,000 posts. We actually currently serve 49 school districts, primarily in 4 states right now. We just love helping schools tell their story. And our mission is very simple. We want to help schools celebrate students and connect communities. And Jason's going to kind of take that to the next level with what he's sharing today because of this awesome thing called content marketing. This is not any way to sell anything today, but our company does offer social media management, coaching and training and speaking, along with obviously all of our free resources that are out on our website. This is just kind of a current map. It's actually outdated because we've been adding a whole bunch of schools over the last month or month and a half. But I started from Wisconsin, which you probably can tell by my accent. And we serve schools all across Wisconsin, Minnesota, even out into the state of Wyoming and into Ohio. And our kind of premise is we know that schools are busy educating students and dealing with staff and dealing with school board and all of that. And, a lot of schools don't have somebody or a department like Jason's school does. And so we're kind of able to step in and help tell your story on social media. I obviously couldn't do 49 schools by myself, so I have a team of over 20 actually women, many stay-at-home moms that help become part of the schools we serve to help really broadcast their story and celebrate their students in a safe way. So before I introduce Jason, content marketing, you might have heard it, it's like a buzzword, right? And so what does it really mean? Well, chances are you are listening to this webinar because of the content marketing I've used for my business. You've probably read a blog or 2 or 150 because I've got that out on my website. And the whole goal, and I know Jason's going to explain this much better than me and in a better context because it's going to relate directly to your school, but it's all about putting value out there to your audience. So I try to share valuable blogs that are going to give you insight and value to help your school. And obviously, I share all these webinars, which again is some content marketing, out on my website. So if you missed a past webinar, if this is your first webinar ever, I have, I think, over 15 recorded, totally free webinars on my resource page. So you go to my resource page, scroll down, there's just a ton of value there that you can tune in and listen to what you need. So I am now going to turn it over to Jason. Before I do, yes, if you've ever watched Dawson's Creek, he does look a little bit like that. But Jason is the marketing coordinator for, is it Carrollton?
Carrollton, yeah.
Okay, Carrollton Farmers Branch Independent School District. Say that 5 times fast.
Yeah.
He's got 15 plus years of experience in public education, and he's a proud graduate of Carrollton Farmers and Texas A&M University. He got his bachelor's in marketing, and after a year in sales, after he got done with college, he began his career with Carrollton Farmers as a Texas history teacher. And then 5 years later, he had a lot of expertise in film, so he got to take a position as the director of the Academy for Media Arts and Technology at the high school, and he really grew that program, further developed the curriculum to include graphic design and animation. I bet there's a lot of graduates that are thanking you, Jason, for all that you did, because I bet many of them have really cool jobs right now, right?
Incredible. I mean, we have someone working on The Simpsons, we have movie directors, we have television personalities. It's awesome just to see the success stories come back, and I get to hang out with them too now that they're a little famous. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and that's some probably good content marketing in and of itself to graduates. But Jason right now, he's the marketing coordinator for Carrollton Farmers, and he manages marketing, advertising, promotion, and social media for the district. I don't know how he finds time, but he is married and he's got 2 kids. Very strong passion for film and baseball, which shame on me that I didn't know who won last night. You can also, what I love about Jason too is he does a great job in his profession, but he shares that information out. You can actually check out, and we'll make sure to have a link for this, socialmediaschoolhouse.com is where he shares a lot of his thoughts. He's got an awesome podcast that really shares a lot of insights. So without further ado, I guess I'm going to just kick it over to you, Jason. I just got to give you the presenter role among all these people that are joining us, and right. I think it should be coming your way.
Yep.
Perfect.
Awesome. Well, I am super excited to be here. Andrea's doing so many great things with social media and just marketing in general. I was very excited to be on the program, and I'm really passionate about this kind of stuff. Like she said, I've been in education for 15 years. I was a teacher. I grew up in the same school district that I'm working in, so it just gives me a little bit more passion in what I do and a little bit more passion about just creating the things and helping grow the district and promote the district. So I'm super excited to be here. And to give you a little background, when I first started, I had 4 really big goals, what I wanted to do to accomplish to start my career in this marketing side of things. I know a lot of school districts are starting to add marketing positions to the communications mix, but a lot of school districts don't. So what we see in our school district is we're very landlocked. We are aging out quite a bit in a lot of our key areas where we used to have a lot of growth. So they created this position to help grow and to help promote the good things that are happening in our district, storytelling about the district so we can grow our enrollment and keep it where it's at. So my 4 goals when I started were really to create visual storytelling. I'm really big about video and graphics to really promote that, and just that's the universal language sometimes is graphics and video. Don't even have to use words or text. So I was really wanted to implement that into our district, visual storytelling. Then of course I wanted to tweak and fine-tune the social media. I wanted to bring that visual storytelling into the social media. And I'm a huge data guy, so I love analytics, and I wanted to create reports and create analytics and use those tools to change or sort of guide the way that we're doing things in our marketing. And of course, the 4th thing I wanted to do was content marketing. And a lot of people in my department especially, and a lot of people in the district had no clue at that time what content marketing was. Now they probably know a little bit too much because I talk about it all the time. But I was really excited because I read a lot of things. I have a marketing degree, but of course I graduated in 2000, so that was before social media, before a lot of the big social media companies were even in existence. So there wasn't much of a playbook of what I needed to do with social media, so I'm very self-taught. So content marketing kept jumping up. So I really wanted to implement that into our district because I felt, just as a consumer myself, I hate salespeople. I hate, advertising being bombarded at me. So I wanted to create something to help people rather than just push the sales agenda on them. So I start off every presentation the same way, and I always show this video because it sort of frames what advertising is today. And I'll start it right now. You might recognize this right away. Some of you probably have no clue what this is, but here we go. So back in the 1960s, the Andy Griffith Show, some of you might, know Deputy Fife or, Andy Griffith, or Little Ronnie Howard, as they used to call him. He's now a famous director. He's directing the new Han Solo film. But back in the 1960s, this was the #1 show on the airwaves. And every week, 45 million people tuned in. So 45 million people. So, of course, all Post Cereal had to do, and countless other advertisers, all they had to do was put their ad up there. 45 million people saw it every week, and hey, I'm going to go buy Post Cereal. So it was really easy back then. And I know a lot of the Mad Men area, they started to get a little more creativity in the ads, but really it was the television, the newspaper, and maybe billboards occasionally, but that's where it was at. You put your message out there, and everyone just expected to buy your stuff. And fast forward 10 years later, we have the Fonz. I mean, in 1977, it was the #1 show. And still, you have NBC, ABC, Fox. It was still pretty easy. There was no much competition with social media or cable television. You put your ad on those television programs, and you're probably going to sell a lot of products. But what's really interesting, if you look at this graph, you see the decline. So in 87, 10 years later, The Cosby Show only had a 27.8 rating. Then you fast forward one of the most popular shows of all time, Seinfeld, 21.7. That's when you're getting into the HBO and Sopranos. Then American Idol, 10 years later, when you're starting to get social media competing for those eyeballs, 16.1. Then nowadays, the NFL is one of the top programs. It only really gets a 12.9% of the viewing audience. That's because we have all these cable channels, Netflix, social media, YouTube. So it's pretty crazy that you can't just put your ad out there and expect people to buy your stuff. And you're probably thinking, well, my district can't afford a television ad anyway. But if you think of other industries this is happening to, the newspaper industry is basically up in flames. Distribution and circulation are down. No one's really reading the newspaper anymore. They're all hopping on social media when the story actually happens. The people that do read newspapers are just skimming the stories, so you don't really have an advantage putting an ad in a newspaper anymore. Billboards are pretty dying. People aren't really looking up anymore when they're driving. They're looking down at their phones, which is, I don't, really support that, but it's crazy. There's so much communication out there, so much just interference that we don't recognize ads anymore. Even the radio, when people used to be confined to their cars, they would hear an ad on the radio and like, oh yeah, I'll try out that product. Well, now we have satellite radio. You probably listen to podcasts on the way to work. It's pretty crazy out there. So there's too much clutter. So really, your traditional game plan of marketing is probably dying, or it's slowly, not working as well at least. So some of the reasons, of course, people are zombified. They're looking at ads. They're not looking at ads. They know the ads are going to be there, and they sort of zone out. They text on the couch. My wife and I, it's crazy. We'll be sitting down on the couch next to each other watching a television show, and we'll text each other. So it's just people don't pay attention to ads anymore. And, of course, they don't trust ads. People don't trust the salesman. You go to buy a car, you don't want to talk to those guys anymore. It's very, very difficult to sell now. People don't trust anything you say. Everything is just a lie to get you to buy their product. So people don't trust people anymore with traditional advertising. And of course, a lot of us just hate advertising. we don't want to see it. We invest in technology. We pay money for TiVo or DVR to skim past the commercials. We have ad blockers. We have all this stuff. So people don't want to see advertising anymore. But what they are doing, the power that they are having, is when I want to go buy a product, I can jump on YouTube and watch a demo of the product. I can watch online reviews about the product. I can see what people are talking about. Is this product better than this product? So I can go type in real quick YouTube, search for something on YouTube, and I can find the answer. I don't need a salesman telling me what to do. And then, of course, the power of Google. I type in whatever I'm looking for, I'm going to buy. I'm going to find the best price. I'm going to find the best solution for me as a consumer. So I just Google what I want to buy and see what's out there and see what competing products there are. Even your parents are doing this. If you type in public school, you're looking at, is it better than homeschool? Is public school good? You look at kindergarten, the same types of thing. They're asking questions. So it's sort of our job to help them answer those questions. And that's sort of what content marketing, said that earlier, is the best thing, is you're helping people rather than sale to them. And since we're talking about content marketing, we can peel back the layer a little bit further, but the best definition I found of content marketing comes from the Content Marketing Institute. This is a great website. They're sort of the ones that coined the phrase content marketing. They're the ones that develop the theories and practices behind it. And I know you can read that yourself, so I'm going to pull out some of the key words that really drive home the point of what we're talking about today with content marketing. Valuable, relevant, and a key thing is being consistent with it. That's the key. Help and valuable to your consumers. So remember that as we talk today, that's what we're really looking for. And that second half, you're trying to attract and retain a clearly defined audience. And as we go about this, that's going to be key as we look at content marketing. You need to know your audience backwards and forwards. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit in the next couple of slides and how I did it on a specific program. But that's the key. You need to know what they want, what their goals are, and really what their problems are. And that's how you're going to develop your content marketing to attract and retain those people. Because they're really interested in how it's going to help them. They want to look like they're a good parent. They want to know that they are doing the best thing for their child. So they're going to do a lot of research, and they want help as we're going about doing that research. So if we look at all the different techniques out there with content marketing, we have blogs, of course, podcasting, there's white papers, videos, Twitter to do question and answer, Twitter chats. I mean, even the K-12 PR chat is a form of content marketing that Blackboard helped create, and it's helping people in the communications and PR and school marketing, helping them grow a community and helping them with their everyday solutions. So that's a form of content marketing. Some of the companies that are doing it really well, and a lot of times when I'm planning a marketing strategy and when I do something, I look at education, but I also look at the broad picture too, because of course corporate, the companies have a lot more money to invest in this type of stuff. So I see what trends they're doing, what kind of content they're putting out there. And some of the best companies to look at, Red Bull is probably, you search content marketing on Google, Red Bull is going to pop up. They're number one. They're really not a drink company anymore. They're a media company. They have their own record label. They have their own content creators. They have their own video department doing extreme sports videos. So they're selling their product through giving people tips and just the storytelling of their culture and what they're doing. So Red Bull is a great one to look at their website and look at some of the things that they're doing. It's really good to maybe infuse that in some of your public education or some of your school districts. Hilton does a really good job on Twitter. They have a thing called Hilton Suggests. And anytime you're in a city, you don't even have to be staying at their hotel. You tweet at them, where's the best restaurant here? Where's the best place to go see a play? What's the best streets to walk down at night to see the lights from the building? And they have people on staff 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, answering those questions. So people are going to think next time when they're looking for a hotel, oh yeah, Hilton really helped me last time I was in this area. Let's check out Hilton first. So they're doing a really good job. Even Charmin, the toilet paper company, they have an app called Sit or Squat. And it talks about it gives you, type in your zip code, it gives you all the best public restrooms in your area for the cleanest experience. So they're selling toilet paper by telling you where to go to the bathroom when you can't use their toilet paper. So there's just some cool things out there that are really unique, and people are doing some creative things. And I always tell people when I give these talks or when I give presentations, why can't education do some of these creative things? I mean, just because we're in education doesn't mean we have to be a couple steps behind. We really have the tools now and the power to create the same things that these corporate people are doing. So we should, look at the trends and try to do that same thing in our districts or at our school level. So it's really cool, the abilities and the capabilities we have now. So I said this before, the best thing you can do before you even get started creating content, you really have to know your audience. It's so very important. And the best thing I can tell you to do, and there's a lot of stuff out there that can help you with this process, but building an audience persona. And what an audience persona is, you're basically creating a fake persona or a fake person that represents your real customers. So you're basically putting together a cheat sheet. You're putting together a guide of how they want to be marketed to, what they want to see, where they're at on maybe social media or on the web. So it's just basically a game plan so you can start really understanding where and how you implement your content marketing. And if you Google HubSpot audience or buyer persona template, this comes up, and it's helped me out tremendously on everything I do with content marketing, because I always want to have a defined audience when I'm building my content. And that changes sometime in our school district. Just think, because 5, 10 years ago, your audience was one thing. We're constantly changing our demographics, the way people are going about purchasing things, the culture. It's different out there. And I know a lot of the buzzword is millennial marketing, but it's true. They look at things a different way. So really, you should be doing this for every campaign of the people you want to reach. So the first part of the audience persona is really just the basic sort of demo stuff, like, how old they are, what their income is, where they live, things like that, some of the common identifiers of this group. But what I really enjoy with this buyer persona is when you start digging a little bit deeper, because this is where the content marketing comes in. You need to know what their goals are, as maybe as a parent, a teacher, a student. And the biggest thing you need to know are the challenges they face. What are the roadblocks for them not choosing your district or choosing the specific program in your district? What are their questions? What are their concerns? And that is what you build your content marketing around. That is what you create, and that's what you put out there to help solve their problems. So you look really at what their challenges are, because I was at a conference, and it was my first Inspire I ever went to, and there was a public relations firm there. They weren't even really associated with education, but they had done a lot of research on education. They said the top thing that parents really care about when they're looking at schools is that they, in the eyes of their other parents, look like they're competent parents. That they want to look like they're in the know and they are doing the best for their child. Of course, we all want the best for their child, but also it's a culture thing where we want to look good in front of other people. So they want to be able to answer these questions in front of their friends. They want to be able to solve their problems because they want to be able to brag. Like, can you believe the kindergarten school is doing coding now in their class? I saw that CFB ISD is doing that. You should try it out, because I don't know, at least when I look back at the VHS tapes of my baseball games, when my dad had that big clunky VHS thing, all you would hear in the background is my mom talking to the other parents about, oh, Jason's doing this at school, Jason's doing that, they're doing this at this school district, things like that. So parents talk. It's a big community, and they want to look like they're in the know, and content marketing is going to help them look like they're in the know. So it's going to help them sort of choose and go down that buyer's journey. And then the last thing in the buyer persona that you really want to concentrate on is building a real person. How are they talking? How are they interacting? So the best ways to do this is go out and talk with them. Get quotes from real people, your real parents, your kindergarten parents, your high school parents. Get quotes from the students. What are they thinking inside their mind that's going to help you build better content? You want to present your projects as real. You don't want to be a fake salesy type salesman. You want to be able to go out there, speak how they speak, use the same language on social media that they're using. You really want to interact with them and be a real person, because real is caring. And that's another big thing about content marketing, is you need to really care about the stuff you're putting out there and make them care about the stuff you're putting out there. So learning the way that they go about life and how they talk is going to be a huge advantage to you.
I've got a question, Jason.
Sure.
You'll probably get into this, but I'm thinking about a K-12 or a 4K-12 school.
Sure.
You've got parents that are at that elementary or, kindergarten stage. They're worried about different things than me thinking about, wow, I've got a stepson that's a senior now.
Yes.
Different personas, do you have, or do you just pick a couple that you're trying to target with your articles and, content?
That's a great question, because what I've really done in my marketing is I'm starting to do more micro campaigns. And I'm really doing specific campaigns to the specific persona. So they'll be big in scope, I guess, but they're really targeting, and with social media now, Facebook advertising, you can really target very specific groups. Before you put your ad on television, you're hitting up all these different groups. Now you can be really specific about who you target. So we might be doing the same campaign, but we might have different content marketing or different promotions for different types of parents. So we might have different pictures in our ads. We might have different ways we go about quoting things. We might have just a different call to action. Like, some people might be really interested in the engineering program. Some might be really interested in the kindergarten program. So we're tailoring our micro content around those personas. So we're really fine-tuning our marketing to really make it sort of at the microscopic level. So we're doing different campaigns and different things for the specific audiences.
Okay, great.
So if you're building a great audience and you start building your content, you're really going to do a lot of great things that are going to sort of build your brand and build your reputation. So, of course, trust. You're not selling to them. There's a great book by Gary Vaynerchuk. He's very outspoken, so if you YouTube him, be very careful about listening to it at work. He likes to drop a few choice languages, but he's awesome about preaching social media and content marketing. And he has a book called Jab, 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 Right Hook. So it's all about giving, giving, giving. And then when you've given them a lot of stuff, they're going to trust you. And then you ask for your right hook, and you ask them to join your program. You ask them to enroll in your district. So trust goes a long way, and content marketing is going to help you build that trust. Then next, you're going to become the experts for education or the type of program that you're promoting through content marketing. You're going to be the kindergarten expert. You're going to be the engineering STEM program expert when it comes to different districts in your area. If you start putting a lot of content out there and you're helping people and they're reading that content, they're going to go for you for the next piece of content. So you're going to become the expert. So when they're looking for a STEM program from their son or daughter, they're going to be reading your stuff and they're going to think, wow, they really have their act together. They really know what's going on. Let's go visit their program. That takes them to the next step. So you're drawing them in, being the expert. So if you're the expert here, you must be the expert in the classroom. And we do a lot of our content is created by the experts. And when I say experts, I mean the teachers and administrators in the district. We have a parenting blog that I started when I first came on called Schoolahoop. It's at schoolahoop.com, schoolahoop.com. And it's written by teachers and administrators in the district, and they had everything like how to teach guided reading to your student, the best pumpkin patch in Carrollton. There's different things out there that they create, and we become the experts on these subjects, and hopefully they think we're the experts in the classroom. The next thing is you're building a relationship with them. You're building a positive relationship with them where they're going to, like I said, that trust factor, they're going to believe that you are the positive voice in everything education, everything, all the programs you're talking about. And then, of course, SEO, search engine optimization. When people go onto Google and search what's the best reading program for kindergartners, hopefully your stuff is going to be at the top of the list because you've created all that awesome content that's out there, and you're going to, help with your SEO, and people, when they find or search for that content, they're going to see your school district or your schools associated with that content. This is going to help them click to the next stage and hopefully visit your schools, visit your website, and come through the doors, and that's where you can sort of start selling them a little bit more once they're in the doors and you have them sort of on your campuses. So it's going to be really important. So it's going to be really hard for me today to go through every little piece of ways you can put content out there. So what I thought I would do is I'm going to go through a program that we did for kindergarten and sort of show you the ways that we implemented content marketing into that program. So I'll go sort of step by step of how we created it, what we did, and that will sort of guide you through some of the steps of content marketing.
Jason, I got one quick question. This is the perfect picture for it.
Sure.
One of our viewers asked, how do you get teachers and staff to buy into writing like blog posts when they already have like a million things going on?
Sure. So one of the number one things that we've researched about teachers, especially the millennial teachers, is they want to find an avenue to grow in the school district. They want to find the next step, be that assistant principal or leader of their content or department chair. So this gives them a way to get their name out there and to get their name in the district. So that's one thing. And of course, I asked the superintendent to send the emails to people that she thought would be good. So when it comes from the superintendent, it sort of helps a little bit with the buy-in. But then also, we told them, I went around to campuses and talked to the principals and talked to some of the teachers and said, this is what we're doing, this content marketing. It's going to work. It's going to put people into your classrooms, and it's going to talk about the great things happening in your classroom without selling them on it. So hopefully it's going to promote your school, promote your brand as a teacher and the brand of your school. So there was a lot of buy-in because they wanted to support the district, but also support their personal brand as well. So they have something to put on their resume, something to put in their portfolios when they go to that next step, maybe to become a principal. So we had a lot of buy-in that way of just teachers wanting to help, but also promote their personal brand as well.
Awesome.
So what we did is we wanted to focus this last year on kindergarten enrollment. So what we did is we sat down and said, okay, what's the best way we're going to do this? Of course, we did some traditional advertising and some things like that. You shouldn't stop it completely, but content marketing is definitely the approach that we focused on more. So what we did is, of course, the first thing we did is we defined our audience. There's many ways we went about this. We actually went to preschool PTAs. So we concentrated on parents that were not yet kindergarten families. Then we also had some roundtables with some kindergarten parents. What's happening now in the classroom? What do you like? What are you looking for? What do you wish you knew you had or that you would like to have known before you started kindergarten? Then we actually talked with the kindergarten teachers because they're the best resource. Parents are more comfortable talking with them, asking the questions. So we really went about and defined our audience. And of course we did surveys through SurveyMonkey, and we also did a lot of just going around to the campus and observing some of the classrooms. And we looked for those common problems or those common questions that were popping up about kindergarten. Because a lot of parents, I know me going through the same thing, were very nervous the first time they send their students off to real school, their child off to real school. So there was a lot of questions bubbling up about what's kindergarten all about, what's carpool about, how do I send them a lunch, things like that. So a lot of common questions were bubbling up, especially about, are they going to learn how to read, are they going to learn how to write, will there be math in the curriculum? So there's a lot of things that were bubbling up, so we wanted to create our content and creating our marketing profiles around those concerns and those questions. So the number one thing I can tell you to do, I said this earlier, define your audience. And that's what we did. We defined of who our kindergarten audience was, what their goals were for their students, and what their problems they saw going into kindergarten so we could help them through the content marketing. And I think the best thing that you can do with content marketing after you define your audience is you need to create a hub where these parents could go. It could be a web page on your main website. It could be a micro content page. There's a lot of programs out there to create just like landing pages that have this content. So what we did is we actually created a parent hub for kindergarten. We call it, it's actually at cfbkinder.com or kindercfb.com. We're really big about buying all these domains, so we have them for all this content marketing. So we actually created a hub where all this content could live that we owned. And I think that's an important key word that I just said, is that you own. Social media is great. It's awesome. But you never know day to day what's going to happen on social media. You don't own that platform. I mean, Facebook, I'll get into this in a second. Facebook is a business. They change that algorithm all the time, and they really mess with the ways things are put out there, the way you're seeing things on Facebook, on Twitter. So really, you're on borrowed land when you're on social media. It's a great tool to push people and to pull people into your websites and things like that. But I wouldn't specifically use social media as a tool where you're going to keep everything your district, you rely on for your district. You need a hub, you need a website or an app to really drive those people too. So what we did is we created a specific kindergarten website with just great content about kindergarten. So that was our first step, because we wanted to have our own website that we can promote all our content to, that we can drive through social media, through our content marketing back to this website, so parents could learn about kindergarten and just learn about the ways that our district works. Then what we started to do is we started to gradually, slowly put out some content about kindergarten on our parenting blog. So we had stories like how drastic has kindergarten changed in the last 25 years, because a lot of course, the parents hadn't been in classrooms in 25 years. Things like 5 awesome articles to help prepare for children. We had a lot of stuff about reading to your kindergarten, how to prepare your child for math in kindergarten. So we slowly started putting some blog content on our School of Hoop blog out there, and within that content, we had a lot of call to actions, and they're called CTAs for short. But what that did is it drove people back to our kindergarten hub and our main website so they can learn more and learn about other great content that we have about kindergarten, and look for ways of how they can enroll their child into our kindergarten program. So I would think one of the easiest things you can do to start content marketing is create a blog. Have a place where you're going to have all your articles and all your content on there to promote. And with blogs nowadays, you can have text content, you can have video content, you can have audio content. So blog is one of the more popular content marketing pieces that people use to drive people back to their main websites and to start that conversation with people. So what we did is we already had that parenting blog in place. It was very popular. It drives a lot of traffic back to our main website. We started sporadically putting kindergarten stories on there. So we started building up that audience for our kindergarten parents that knew we were going to have content on our blog about things that related to kindergarten, not just the high school programs, because that's very popular. It's very easy to get really cool things about the high school programs because they're really showcased, because the kids are social mediating. It's very easy to showcase high school programs sometimes. But sometimes I think elementary school programs are lost because they don't have the specific electives. So we started putting that content out there. So we started building up a readership, and we were driving them back to that CFB kindergarten hub, and we started developing an audience. So we started to see the numbers grow for that website and started to see the audience grow for kindergarten parents. They were interested in helping their kindergarten son or daughter be successful. And then the next step is, once you have that content, you start feeding the content. Sure, go, yeah.
Oh, sorry, I'm sorry. So one person asked, Emily asked, can your hub be just part of your current school website if you beef up?
Of course. So it's real easy to create that hub on just an additional page on your main website. We chose to sort of have it off our website so it wouldn't be as salesy, but I'm telling you right now, it doesn't really matter. That was just one of our choices, our options. If you have it as just a kindergarten page on your website, that's going to be awesome as well. I mean, you're going to have your content there, you're going to have your information there, and as long as you have a place that you own to drive them back to, I think that's going to be great. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and then just one other, I guess, comment, because our audience is all levels as far as your school website. I'm even thinking a really basic way, Google Docs. If you had a Google Doc that had articles that you had shared. If you're not, you can't necessarily get it on your website, of course, that would be ideal. But even a Google Doc with links to information, it's just about starting somewhere and starting with that hub and then getting that information out.
That's a great idea. Yeah, it's just a simple document with a bunch of links, like the title of the article and the links, just to help parents out. I mean, I think that's the scariest age for our parents, is to drop their kids off that first day of kindergarten. The more they know, the more comfortable they're going to be about, enjoying the kindergarten experience instead of worrying about it. So that's a great idea. So really what we did at that point is we had the content out there. It slowly started building organically. And we did promote it through Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and some of our other social media sites. Those are our three main ones. But we started seeing, people were sharing it on Twitter, sharing the links, sharing the content. And that's another thing on your blog. Having social share buttons to make it easy for people to share your content is a big plus. So that would just be sort of the Facebook symbol, the Twitter symbol at the bottom of it. And when you click on it, there's little plugins or apps that you can do that when you click on it, it shares that specific story. So it's a really good tool to have on your blogs if you're starting a blog, is to have social share buttons, because it makes it a lot easier for people to share your content. So what we did see, though, is our organic growth was great through our content marketing, but also we wanted to reach more people. We wanted to put our content out there for a bunch of people to enjoy. Maybe not people that were necessarily searching for it, but were just thinking about it in their head. So what we do, and I'm a big advocate of it, is paid social media. And I think when people hear that paid part, they get really, really scared, because they're like, my school board is never going to let me pay for social media. We can just put it out there for free. But I don't know if you know, but organic growth, especially on Facebook, and now Twitter's implemented an algorithm, even Instagram, to reach your people is not great anymore organically. You think you're reaching everybody when you post an article out there, but I think on average you're reaching about 2 to 6%. It's probably a little bit higher for education, because a lot of people check the Facebook to see for events and things like that on education, but if you're getting over 20%, that's phenomenal. So that means that 80% of your audience that have checked, yes, they want to be a fan of your Facebook page or your Twitter or your Instagram, they're not even seeing your content. So, like 80% people that love your district or love your schools don't even know what's going on half the time. They might see it sporadically. You probably notice in your Facebook feeds that stuff will randomly pop up. And I'll see some stuff pop up that was from yesterday, and people, talking about, Halloween, but then I start seeing it today, popping up that they posted yesterday. So it's becoming complicated out there for social media. And the best way that we see to do that is to pay to play, which sounds bad, pay to play. If you ever saw the movie The Social Network, Facebook is definitely a business. They're finding ways definitely where you're going to have to pay to get your content out there. And they're being very strict about what content is being seen by what eyeballs. So paying for that content is going to be a way to get your stuff out there. And like I said, I know pay is a bad word, but the great thing about Facebook is you can highly micro-target your ads to very, very specific audiences, and it also doesn't cost that much. I can pay $10 for one of our content marketing pieces to be put on Facebook, and it's seen by 2,000, 3,000 people. So as right now, as this broadcast is airing live, it's very, very cheap to advertise on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And it's a great way to push your content out there to the eyeballs that might necessarily not see it. So we did a whole campaign. We invested a little bit of money and did some paid social media for a lot of our content. And we saw the numbers start skyrocketing. People were sharing it more, our content. People were reading our content, going back to our kindergarten hub, and they were going to the enrollment page on our district website. So we saw a lot of growth through the Facebook advertising, the Instagram advertising. So just to grow your content marketing base, it's great to start out and let it grow organically, but probably sooner or later, if you really want it to take off, you're going to have to pay. And what I always tell my school board or my superintendents is that marketing is not an expense, it's an investment. So we can pay $10 and 2,000 people can see our content marketing, and that drives 1 or 2 students to enroll in our district. Well, that's about $8,000 per student, so that's a great investment for $10 to get about $16,000 to $24,000 worth of student, enrollment into our district. So always just make everyone aware that marketing is an investment, and that's really the key to all of this. Is everything you do is an investment to heighten your marketing, heighten your programs, heighten your school district. You're putting a lot of time into it. You're probably putting a lot of money into it. I'm sure people are saying that. So really just think of it as an investment, and it makes things go down a little bit easier. It's like the sugar that helped the medicine go down. I mean, it's an investment, and think of it that way. If you're able to show through analytics and data that you're really driving that investment home, people are going to stop talking about, oh, you paid for that social media? Well, yeah, look what it did. So always have that data and that investment to back it up. It's a really good tip I always like to bring up with my school board.
One thing I want to say as well to that is I work with schools obviously to help them with social media. And again, you can drive a lot free, but it is getting harder. Even since the beginning of this school year, our organic reach has dropped dramatically.
Yes.
A lot of schools, and right now around where I am at in Wisconsin, Minnesota, there's so many people pushing for radio advertising. One of the schools that I talked with was spending around $20,000 a year just on radio advertising. How can you show your ROI on radio advertising? I think it's so difficult, but with social media buys, it's very easy actually to show that ROI. So, it's a different method than maybe what your school board might be used to, but there is some dollars that schools are spending, and dollar for dollar, like you talked about, it's actually very cheap to do it with social media. You can show, you can tell, videos, these articles, photos. It's so powerful. So just kind of wanted to raise that point.
Oh, and that's really a lot of our chunk of our marketing is concentrated on is social media and social media advertising. I mean, it's so beneficial because it is the cheapest way. I wish I would have put it in here. I think I left it out for some reason, but there's a chart showing the reach of how much you pay for certain traditional and social media. I think it was like, $10,000 to reach 2,000 people with radio, but then it's like 50 cents to reach 1,000 people with social media. So really cool, the capabilities, and of course it's exactly what you said. The analytics and insights on the social media, they track everything. I mean, you're being tracked every time you go on your social media, so they know everything that you're doing and everything the way that your advertising is working with your audience. So it's really, really powerful. And like I just said, the best thing about social media is you can hyper-target your audience. You can get very, very specific. With radio, who knows who's going to hear it? I mean, it could be, anybody and everybody. It could be grandma at the nursing home, or it could be, a 3-year-old in the back seat listening to the Radio Disney as their mom's driving down the highway. So with social media, you can be very specific of who you target. You don't have to waste your money on targeting the wrong people. You can really target the right people. And here's some examples. I'll go through this very quickly, but here's some examples that you can really become very, very specific of who you target. So let's say you wanted to reach female mothers with preschool-age kids who are fans of 24-hour fitness. Well, that would be people that are starting a new gym with a daycare inside. So let's say you're creating a business with a gym. You can, target those specific people within Facebook. Let's say you're a cruise line. You can do newly engaged couples who live in Texas who are about to take honeymoon trips. It's crazy what social media knows about you, and it's really crazy about how specific. They know how you voted in the election. They know what music you listen to. They know what websites you visited. So you can be very specific. It's scary, but you can really highly target your audiences and the audiences you want to by just putting a couple small things within Facebook to really target those audiences. We
have a quick question, and Peg, you might have to expand on this, because here's Peg's question. Okay. Can you target an audience with a Facebook fan page?
Yeah, so that's what I do. So we have about 40 schools in our district. We have about 26,000 students. So what we do is we have our main CFB district fan page, and then we have, of course, school fan pages where people will go, and then we have some specific programs that we do. But yes, you can switch within the Facebook advertising what page you want it to come from. So as long as you have that overarching hub that's sort of the admin over all of those, you can choose to come out from your district or a specific school. So if a principal wants to spend $5 on Meet the Teacher Night, you can go to their Facebook page and specifically have it come from that Facebook page and target people that just live in that area around that school about Meet the Teacher Night. So yes, you can. You can be very specific on all fan pages, and even as a individual, you can target people with your posts now. But you do have to sign up. It's free, although I think you do have to put in a credit card. They won't use the credit card until you really buy an ad, but you have to put a credit card in for Facebook. And Facebook owns Instagram, so that's part of Instagram as well. You can do all of that from the Facebook Hub. You can advertise on Facebook, Instagram, and you can also advertise on third-party sites through Facebook that they have partnerships with. So that can be very powerful sometimes too, depending on your audience. So yes, you can.
Awesome.
So we also invested some in video, which I am a big, huge fan. I'm a big film fan to begin with, but video is awesome. It is what is highly engaging on Facebook. Facebook shows that to more people, video now. Video on YouTube, people, of course, search all the time. Teenagers do, of course. They're always on YouTube. Mine watches Minecraft videos and all that stuff, you know, when he wants to learn tips and tricks and things like that. So we started a kindergarten video campaign. I'll show you the main campaign, and then I'll tell you one of the coolest things that we did as part of this kindergarten campaign that's really targeted at the content marketing area. But here's our sort of program video for kindergarten.
At this very moment, in kindergarten classrooms across our district, teachers are investing in the lives of students and engaging them in new ways. Our kindergarten program is like no other. Innovative classrooms with passionate, caring teachers, preparing your child for their unique path to a successful academic career. Kindergarten has dramatically changed over the past 20 years, and our district is committed to helping your child learn more and achieve more. We, in partnership with each and every parent, help mold students into leaders that will shape our future. A bright future for sure.
In the future, I think a robot can help me clean my room. I think dinosaurs will return to the Earth. I say rocket above went out in space. In the future, I think cars will fly. In the future, I'm going to be a teacher.
We are committed to high achievement for each and every student. Learn more at csbkinder.com.
So we use that campaign to drive more parents, hopefully through storytelling a little bit, to drive them back to our kindergarten site. So they'll read more of our content, so they'll become more comfortable with our kindergarten programs. And one of the best things that we did last year, and this definitely falls under content marketing, is if you are not using Facebook Live, use it now because it is so powerful. It is awesome. And what we did is we actually put a round table together of kindergarten teachers, and we did a Facebook Live so the parents wouldn't have to drive up to the school to listen to these kindergarten teachers. They can watch it with their pajamas on, and they can ask questions live to our kindergarten teachers. So we took an hour chunk, and we had a round table with some of our top kindergarten teachers, and they answered parents' questions for an hour. And they asked everything from how does carpool work, to what are you teaching in the classroom, what a typical day is in the kindergarten. And just through that live video and through the replay, we've had 25,000 people watch it. So that was for free. We didn't advertise it at all. Facebook Live is such a powerful tool. There's a lot of cool things out there to do Facebook Live. Of course, you can use your phone, the easiest way. Your teachers can, any presentation or your school's winning an award, you can go Facebook Live. We do a lot of our football games Facebook Live, and we do a lot of our homecoming stuff Facebook Live. But it's awesome what you can do, and the greatest thing is it downloads it into the post so people can replay it and watch it, and then you can download it and chunk it up any way you want. So what we did, we took it a step further through that content marketing line, and we actually took those chunks specific questions, so we took every question and made it its own video and posted it on a YouTube playlist for kindergarten. So what is a typical day like in kindergarten? We took that 1-minute response from the kindergarten teacher, and now we have a video that's called What's a Typical Day Look Like in Kindergarten? So we have all those videos on our YouTube and on our Facebook and on our blog where parents can watch those videos individually. They don't have to watch through the hour program. We chunked it up, and if they have specific programs about kindergarten, they can find those through our playlist, and they can also ask additional questions in the comment section, and we'll create little small videos from our kindergarten teachers to answer those questions for future comments or questions from our parents. So this was huge. This drove a lot of people to our website and drove a lot of people back to all of our promotional stuff and just to enroll in our district as a whole. So it was very, very powerful. It's probably one of the most powerful things you can do right now in content marketing. So I'll go through the rest of the stuff very quickly because there's some advanced stuff that I'll talk about. I know we're getting close to the cutoff time. But another thing that we did is we're creating these white papers, I guess they would call them, or cheat sheets for our parents. One of the best ones that we did is a checklist of how you can prepare your child for kindergarten. So what we did is we created this checklist, and it's a little fuzzy. That we did it on purpose so they would have to download it to get the real content. But there's different categories of what your child should be doing before they enter the kindergarten classroom, and how the teachers will help prepare them for that if they're a little bit behind or a little bit ahead as well. So it's sort of a checklist as a parent. Can you do things over the summer to help prepare your child for kindergarten? Should they start learning the letter sounds? Should they be able to hold a pencil correctly? Should they be able to write their name? So we created a checklist where parents could download, and the little secret trick, the content marketing trick behind it is we created a landing page. There's an awesome program. It's a little bit of money, but it's called Lead Pages. And what Lead Pages does is allows you to have a landing page where parents can sign up for your content. And that way we capture their email address and their first and last name. Sometimes we ask a couple more questions, and we try to keep it around 3 so they're not, they're like, oh, I have to give all this stuff to give my, get this little sheet. But so we had hundreds, almost thousands of parents download this sheet, and what that did is it gave us their email and gave us their name, and we were able to do a whole email campaign targeting those parents that are interested and that we knew had kids that were about to start kindergarten. So it's another content marketing, I wouldn't call it a trick, but a technique that you can use to capture email, because we found out that texting and email is the top way to get some of the word out sometime with some of our parents. So being able to have that permission to email them with this content, and we use MailChimp, so we're able to make it a little bit more visual. But you can see each column is a different email that we send out to sort of target parents. What we did in those emails is you don't want to sell them right away. You want to jab, 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 right hook. So we sent out content of our blog posts that they might have missed. We sent out content about where our schools were located. We sent out one about our kindergarten video so they can learn more about the kindergarten experience. Then that last column you can see there, we sort of started selling them a little bit about, hey, open enrollment online is just opening up. You really should enroll your kid in our awesome kindergarten program. We have given you all this content. You're making the confident choice to choose CFB ISD. Why don't you enroll now, get ahead of everybody, and guarantee your child a spot in our kindergarten program. So we use that email campaign and that content of that downloadable, just real quick checklist, and we captured a bunch of email addresses, and still to this date, I send them little updates of new blog posts we sent out, new videos that we've created all about the kindergarten experience. We've done this for our STEM programs. We have academies in our district. We've done it for athletics, fine arts. We've really micro-contented a lot of our marketing techniques to really reach specific audiences with specific content. And we're seeing a lot of growth through our email giving out these specific campaigns. So it's been really good for us because it just drives the cycle. It's like a circle. They sign up for the email, they read our content, they watch our videos, they ask more questions. So it's just an endless content of just sort of just a loop where we keep feeding them useful, helpful content, And then sooner or later down the road, because we've done such a great job, we're the experts, that they're going to choose our school district to really become part of it.
One person was asking, how frequently would you send out these kind of emails?
It really depends on what our campaign was going at that point and if there was some sense of urgencies. Really, I wouldn't do it more than once a week. I know some people do it once a day, like the skim, but that's sort of a different type of content. That's new content every time. It really depends on how much content you've written, but I think parents don't want to be bugged as well. Then you're getting into that advertising. They're like, oh, you're sending me a lot of useful content, but you're bugging me quite a bit. You're filling up my inbox. So we usually did it once a week. And then once our kindergarten season, enrollment season was over, we started doing it maybe every other week or once a month, just to keep them in the loop, to keep them interested, but not bombard them with just a sense of urgency of, oh, you have to enroll before this date or you won't be able to, do it online, things like that. So really just sort of have to gauge what the audience reception is and then also what your goals are for that month. And, you might have to send out more sometimes, you might have to send out less. But really, if it's useful content, you don't have to be worried as much. It's not like you're advertising like, join CFE now. It's really a helping tool for them. So really, it's just all who your audience is and what your goals are for that month. So one of the last things I can tell you is every piece of content that we develop, every type of thing that we're helping our audience with, we're driving them back to a specific place. We want to drive them back to our owned real estate and really drive them and send out those call to actions that really drive them to the specific parts of our website that we want them to go to. So if it's enrollment season and parents need to enroll their children for next school year, we'll drive a lot of our call to actions back to our enrollment page. If it's just really about coming to see campus tours or kindergarten open houses, we'll drive them back to our school web pages. But everything you do should have a call to action, and it really should have a next step that your parents or your consumers or your students are going to do to sort of keep that cycle going with the content marketing. It could be as easy as, hey, you really like this article, why don't you check out this other article? Or it could be like, you've really read a lot of articles about the kindergarten. Why don't you enroll your student? So everything should drive back to that website, and everything should drive back to that area that you can sort of draw them in. And so when you do have that opportunity to sell to them, you have that opportunity to really drive home and really make that sale once you've really helped them out and put them through. So just to recap real quick, my number one tip for content marketing is really define your audience. Really decide who you want this content to be created for, who you want it to go out to. It's going to be really important. That's the number one tip. And then some of the trends, I'll go through these like split second, but some of the trends I see in content marketing is really like personalized, to-the-minute customer service. We're eventually going to get to the point where you're probably going to have a secretary or a receptionist be on Twitter and answer questions for parents. And that's really big. Video content's going to be huge. Use that live video. Micro-influencers, use your teachers, use your administrators, because they're going to trust them more than they're going to trust the communications department probably. So trust the people they know. Internet of Things, we're probably going to eventually have to build Amazon Echo apps that like, what's happening in my school this week? And it's going to tell them. So that's down the pipeline. And then user-generated content, who are they going to trust more than themselves or their family members or their friends? Try to get as much content from people outside the district. That's parent testimonials. That's students having a great time at the football game. Use user-generated content to really drive home the point that there are passionate people in your district and there's passionate people that want to learn and just interact with your district. So that's really all I had, content marketing. I know I went through it really quickly, and you can go to my blog to read more. You can definitely ask me questions on Twitter. Just give me an email if you have any specific questions, and I'll answer questions now. But that's sort of just the tip of the iceberg with content marketing. There's some very specific things that you can do, but that's sort of as fast as I could go. I like to talk, so I know I've taken up the whole hour and a little bit more, but there you go.
That was really valuable, Jason. We'll hang around here. A few people have had to jump off, but if you have some additional questions specific to your school, to your district, please chat those in. I think the example that you gave, Jason, is perfect, because if somebody's thinking about content marketing, you can get overwhelmed really easily because you're like, oh my gosh, I have all these people that I'd like to talk to. just start with one. And the fact that you showed us how to start with kindergarten, I think that's essential, because that's a lot of times when we're talking about marketing, promoting our district. I just was talking to a superintendent yesterday, and he's like, if I can get that child to attend our pre-K program, they're likely going to graduate from our school.
Exactly. That was our whole philosophy. We just launched a new pre-K full-day program in our district, so we did a campaign similar to the kindergarten campaign. And then, of course, kindergarten. If you can get them early, they're going to form those bonds with the teachers, with the schools, and the district, and it's really going to help keep people in your school district.
Yeah, and then, you know, for you that are kind of like me a little bit with our schools that we serve, social media can be the first spot where you're doing content marketing, right? You've got a great STEM program. So every Friday, our second graders are doing these STEM activities. We're putting those posts on Facebook and getting that story out there. So that's a baby step. Now, the next step might be, how can we put that on, like Jason said, a piece of real estate that we own, which might be a blog, and then use social media to drive people maybe to that blog. That might be that second step. And then that third step is kind of like you talked about, building that email list, which you guys all know to sign up for this webinar, you have to get your email. Again, all my hope is, and that's what I love about this, is you are trying to help your audience. You're trying to help your parents. You might be trying to help future teachers to come to your district. So when you care first, and you stress this, Jason, when you care about giving them value, and that comes through with everything you do, it isn't like marketing. You're just trying to help them. And if it ends up coming to their, being a student at your school or a teacher at your school, awesome, because that's kind of what your job is, to get them there. But having that sense of caring and that sense of value is key. So I'm not getting any questions. Any last minute advice, Jason, based on what I was sharing?
I would just say, really, the first step is to define that audience, define what you want to do, how, to figure out what kind of content you want to build around the audience that you're trying to really target. And, like you said, you don't have to start off big to start off. Start putting more helpful content marketing on social media. Start, putting some, just small things on your website, just simple links to, get them there. Even having school open houses is a form of content marketing. So just have people and just answer their questions, and customer service goes a long way. And to have that frontline staff trained in some common questions, to get your teachers or principals sort of on the same page about how you can help people when they call in or email, it's going to go a long way. And that's the best thing you can do, is start out small, and once you get more comfortable, you take it up to the next level, take it to the next level, take it to the next level. There's a lot of great books out there for content marketing. You can probably just go to Amazon and put in content marketing. Some of the good ones that I know are, one's called Utility by Jay Baer, The Content Code by Mark Schaefer. He's actually a college professor. Content Inc. by Joe Polizzi is a great one. And then actually a graduate of CFB ISD. She owns her own marketing firm, and she's like a world-renowned speaker. If you Google her, she wrote the book Zen of Social Media, but she also wrote an awesome book. Oh, no, sorry, wrong book. This book, Momentum, it is awesome, and her name is Shama Hyder. She actually graduated from the program that I ran, AMAT. She's a world-renowned speaker. She has an excellent, if you just type in Marketing Zen, Shama, her website comes up. She has an awesome blog. She takes you through this content marketing. She has a lot of case studies, a lot of stuff on there. So it's a really good book to really walk you through the process of how to put stuff together and put content and put, stuff out there that's really going to make an impact with your audience.
Awesome. And in your email, I will get you links to every book that Jason just shared. So we'll make it really easy for you to order those. That would be awesome. I guess my final thing is, I just love that you brought up Facebook Live, because, again, that will really help your reach. But it is hard to get people into your building. It's getting harder and harder. People are busy. The fact that you did that round table, asking questions for an hour on Facebook Live, you don't need fancy equipment. You just need your iPhone or your camera, and share those. And then you can even repurpose those videos. What's awesome about Facebook Live is people don't expect it to be perfect. So Jason's little introduction to kindergarten, that was perfect, right? That was really well produced. We don't all have that ability, but with Facebook Live, it's forgiving. Please try it. You will like it. You will like the results you see. So that was a great piece of advice as well.
Yeah, it's some of our biggest drivers of engagement. Every week we usually try to do at least some type of Facebook Live. Programs, games, just cool things that are happening in the district, and of course these roundtables. So we just had a roundtable with our high school academies that went really, really well. It's just a lot. I mean, 25,000 parents that are thinking about kindergarten watch that video. That's a lot of people. That's almost as many people that are in our district. So it's just a powerful tool. It's just very powerful.
Yeah. Well, Jason, thank you so much. I've got a lot of, oh my gosh, this was so informative. Thanks for all the advice. So definitely one of our best webinars yet. So thank you, Jason. Stay tuned to your emails. You will get all of these resources, these slides, the recording to our video, these books that he referred to. And then certainly, I know if you tweet at Jason, or email him, he is going to get your questions answered. So
yeah, definitely. Don't worry about emailing me, and just, yeah, if you want to hit me up on Twitter or make a comment on my blog, I will be more than happy to talk with you about anything.
Yes, mind blown. Tracy said it well. It was wow. So thank you guys so much. Have an awesome day, and we'll see you next time.
Bye from Texas. Bye.
Bye-bye.